Hey guys, it's Ashley Kirkwood, host of the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast and also owner of the law firm Mobile General Counsel. I want to come on here really quickly to give you guys some things that I've been thinking about. And I literally, like within minutes ago from recording this, I just got off uh, stage, quote unquote, if you will, talking about the decision that came down not to charge the officers involved with killing Breonna Taylor. So my mind is on a lot of different things right now because I'm also in the midst of planning the Speak Your Way to Cash live event or finalizing the plans for that event. And so I've been researching the case all day and also researching for the event. So I have two totally different and unrelated things on my mind, but I did want to share with you guys something that's come up a lot in my preparation for this event. And it's the most underrated skill of a speaker or of an entrepreneur or of someone who wants to accomplish something. And in researching all the hundreds of guests that I've interviewed over my career, whether it be for law or for my past YouTube show or for this show, the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, the thing that they all had in common, the thing that my most successful clients have in common is the skill of discipline. It's discipline. And so what I wanted to share with you all today, and I'm recording this podcast episode live in the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group, I wanted to share with you guys some things that help to foster discipline. And the biggest thing, honestly, is tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. So having the ability to really hone in on what it is that you want to do and forsake everything else that is a distraction. And the easiest way to do that is start to really, really, really exercise the power of no. Right? Say no to more things. And honestly, if you have a really big goal or you want to accomplish something, you're going to have to start saying no to more things than you say yes to. And that was something that I really struggled with, was like, how do you say no when you don't necessarily have a ton of opportunities on your plate? How do you decline things in that vein? So we're going to talk through very quickly, we're going to talk through some things that help to foster discipline. And if you're joining in live, just say hi in the comments. But the first thing I would say would be the right mindset. So believing that the activities that you are investing your time in will actually produce the desired result. And, I just want to, totally unrelated to this topic, actually. One of the reasons why this entire situation, the racial unrest in our country is so infuriating is because a lot of Black folks, including myself, have worked so hard towards a particular direction just to realize that oftentimes there are other people who just do not want you to reach the goal. So your mind, you're totally, you want to do the right thing. And so you continuously do the right thing over and over and over and over again. You protest peacefully, you go to work, you work hard, you go for the promotion, and then you realize that there are still other things that you cannot control that have the ability to take you away, from your desired result. So what happens when we're trying to be disciplined in a society that may not always respect you, and you don't know what's going to happen on the other side, is sometimes our mindset keeps us from being disciplined in our actions because we don't believe that the actions that we're doing will actually lead to anything. As it relates to your career and as it relates to the goals that you have as a speaker, the goals that you have as an entrepreneur, the goals that you have for your family, if you are not disciplined, if you are not taking consistent action towards your goals, what actually happens, what you need to check first is your mindset. You need to ask yourself, do I genuinely believe that if I do all of these things, I will get my intended result? If you do, if you say, yes, I actually do. Step one, yes, I agree with that. Then you need to look at, okay, if you believe that and you're still not taking the action, then that means the result that you say you want is not the result that you actually want. And I think that we kid ourselves sometimes and we tell ourselves that we want certain things, but our actions are what tells it. I can look at someone's actions and tell what they really, 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 really want. So if you say, I want to be a speaker, I want to speak on big stages, but I ask you how many people you're pitching and you say no one, that either one, you don't believe that if you pitch, you'll get it, which means there's a strategy issue there. You should work with someone to help you with that, i.e. me. Two, if you say like, yeah, I do want that, that's really what I want, but you're still not taking the actions, then that means that you're lying. You really don't want it. If you look at your entire life, Whatever you want, you put action behind it. And even when you say you don't want something, what you say doesn't matter as much as what you do. So look at your actions, because the number one thing that you're going to need to get to your next level, and it doesn't matter if it's personal, if it's business, if it's professional, which is business, but maybe in your career versus entrepreneurship, it's going to be discipline. It's going to be discipline. So you got to have discipline. That's number one. So your mindset, you want to check your mindset. What are your thoughts surrounding your goal? What are your thoughts surrounding your goal? My goal is to, for me, I'll take it personal here. And this relates to you whether you're a speaker or not. If you're listening to the podcast or you're watching this on live, you're probably a speaker and or an entrepreneur and or someone who just has big goals that you haven't quite maybe worked towards yet or you haven't seen manifest yet. The biggest thing is your mindset. So the biggest thing that you want to think through is like, what are my thoughts around my goals? Now, for me, I have a personal goal. I'll let y'all in on. My personal goal right now it relates to fitness. So I hired Jackie Hale to do nutritional coaching. And so she gave me this very robust and very limited plan of what I should be eating to reach those goals. So I started meal prepping. And it's, I try to follow the plan as closely as possible, but I have all my meals prepped. So no matter what I eat, the only stuff in my house is stuff that can actually serve me along this goal, along this journey. I don't buy other stuff that doesn't relate to my goal because I have goals out here in these streets. Okay. In your life as a speaker or as an entrepreneur, what you want to think about is what are all the things that are around me physically in my house, on my computer, on my phone? Are all those things serving me? Do you need the Facebook app on your phone? Do you need 5,000 tabs open? That's me. I'm guilty of that. Do you need 5,000 coaches? Because here's the other thing, guys. A lot of you are confused because you have too many people in your ear telling you what to do. And so you're not able to decipher which strategic action you should actually take. You don't need 15,000 coaches. You really don't. You just don't. You need to really settle in with one or two people that you trust and take action on what they're telling you to do. And then after you see some results from there, either stick with them a little bit longer or move on and work with someone else who can help you in a different area. You don't need 17,000 different coaches. So check your mindset. The next one is prior planning. So planning your day a day ahead. Planning your day a day ahead really, really, really helps. And more importantly, this was the first year in my business that I planned out what we were going to do in 2021 for the entire year. This was the first year we planned the Speak Your Way to Cash event a year in advance. This was the first year that I planned all my revenue goals and everything out a year in advance. And this has been by far our best year financially. And I don't want you to get very high level. This doesn't need to be super, challenging. Like, get a piece of paper, write out what you want to do. It's 4 quarters in the year. What are your big goals for each quarter? What events do you want to have? How many customers do you want to reach? How many customers do you want to pitch? And then get very, very, very granular with each and every one of those quarterly goals that you've set for yourself. Because without a plan, it's going to be you're going to wake up every day. And this is what I did when I first started my business. I would wake up every day. I would get on Facebook and I would do a live video, but I had no real purpose behind it. I literally hustled my way to my first 6 figures, and it was stressful because every day I was trying to come up with like a new plan of attack. What am I going to do today? And it just doesn't make sense. So planning things out a year in advance has been a game changer for my business. And you know what else it's done? It's helped me to have tunnel vision. So because I have a plan a year in advance, people can't come with all their grand ideas and partnerships and all that stuff saying, oh, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. If it doesn't align with the plans or the goals that I've set for myself for those quarters, it doesn't work. So as a speaker, you may be saying goals like, hey, I want to make $100,000 as a speaker. Okay, great. That's a big goal. But the goals that are going to actually inform your actions and move your business forward are going to be those goals that are like, I want to pitch 10 new businesses every single week. I want to make 5 LinkedIn posts every single week. I want to get 100 new corporate clients on my corporate email list every single month. I want to have 5 discovery calls every single week with new corporate decision makers. I want to join 3 associations where my ideal clients congregate. Those are going to be better goals than I want to make 6 figures. Like, sure, you want to make 6 figures, but every day, like on Monday, or what's today, Wednesday. So on Thursday, if my big goal of the year is to make 6 figures, what does that mean for Thursday? What am I doing on Thursday? What am I going to get done on Thursday? Is this making sense? Just drop a make sense in the comments if it makes sense. because I think that what I did, and y'all may be perfect. Y'all may be perfect. I don't know. What I did when I was first starting out, even as a speaker, is I had these big grand goals, but I didn't have goals that informed my Monday. I didn't have goals that informed my Tuesday, that informed my Wednesday. I think it was Bianca Robinson of Caden K Consulting that was like, you should have a theme for each day. That really, really, really helped me to narrow down on things that I was going to do each and every day. And the great part about having a plan is plans are not based on your feelings. So the beauty of a plan is, if this is my plan, I don't have to worry about how I feel on Thursday. I know that I'm doing these specific things for my business. So you want to get out of running your business based on your emotional, like how you feel, because there's no consistency in your feelings. And so that means there will be no consistency in your business if your business plans are based on your feelings. And with everything that's going on in the world now, at least for me, without a plan of attack, a plan of action, very concise goals, things that I plan to do, it could all just go away. Like it could literally, I can't personally live inside my feelings. I was very, 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 very upset today about the decision that was made. But I will say, as a lawyer and as someone who already understands that justice doesn't live in America for Black folks, I wasn't surprised by the decision. But I was upset, and it is infuriating, and it is angering, but that doesn't mean for me personally that I could negate all the other obligations that I have. And I think having a daughter has really helped me to realize the importance of having discipline on another level, because it doesn't matter how I feel. She needs stuff every single day. Like, and I have to show up for her every single day, despite my feelings. I mean, I imagine that's what all parents do, or at least all, reasonably good parents. That's what you do. You show up every day for your kids, even if you don't feel like it. So in our businesses, and when we're thinking about, it's a lot going on in the world, but you still have things that you want to accomplish for the world. And I saw someone say one day that being a Black entrepreneur and hiring other people and being in a position where you have financial resources is an act of resistance. It means you don't have to go work at Wells Fargo where they don't think there's a lot of Black talent. It means you don't have to go subject yourself to what your coworkers say who are of a different persuasion because they're ill-informed. You don't have to subject yourself to a lot of the things in society that you otherwise would have. 4 years ago today, and this is a very unique episode. I'm jumping back and forth. But 4 years ago today, I was at a jury trial in Texas, and it was right after Sandra Bland was murdered, or it was right after the Sandra Bland decision. And Facebook reminded me that was 4 years ago today. And I remember I made a Facebook post 4 years ago that was like, I can't believe I have to work in these conditions. All I keep thinking about is Sandra Bland and what happened to her and how unjust it was and how unfair it was. And I remember my coworkers at the time, I was the only Black person on that trial team. And they had me corresponding back and forth with the court. And I couldn't figure out why they would choose me to correspond back and forth with the court. Well, when I went to the court and I went to the judge's chambers, I realized that, so you walk in judge's chambers, it's a long hallway. I'm walking through this hallway, and all I see on the wall are pictures of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and it was just real Black. And I was like, what's going on? Like, is this judge just very, very down? What's happening? And then when I got there, I realized his whole staff was Black, the judge was Black. And so then it was like, oh, that's why they were so adamant about me doing all the deliveries to the court and really connecting. And their reasoning was like, oh, you can really connect with them. We just know you can really, really connect, Ashley. You'll really be able to connect. But there were protests happening outside of the place where we were actually doing our work. And I felt torn because a part of me wanted to just leave my work, real Black. Yes, that's what I thought. I was like, I think what's going on with this judge? Because it's a federal judge. And mind you, that is the only federal judge that I have been before as a trial lawyer that was African-American or that was Black. So I was shocked. But I was torn in that moment because I was like, man, I want to leave this job and go protest. But it was a trial. And if you know anything about federal trials as an attorney, Federal trial is go time. Everybody's putting in their work. And I was a new associate. In fact, it was my very first jury trial. And I had all these different emotions and all these different thoughts. And at the end of the day, I didn't leave. I did my job. I did well. We won the trial. I did what I had to do for my career. But in that moment, and I think what people mean when they say like being a successful Black entrepreneur is an act of resistance, what they mean is you don't necessarily have to deal with that same conflict. So the reason why I am huge on Black speakers getting paid for what they do is because we need enough freedom to speak our minds without the fear of retaliation, or without the fear of we're going to lose our job, or without the fear of, oh my God, the man ain't going to like this and I'm going to be demoted tomorrow. And the reality is, for a lot of us that go into entrepreneurship, it's not necessarily because we couldn't hack it in corporate. It's just because we were sick of playing those games. So when you think about your why do you do these things? Why are you investing in your speaking business? Why are you investing in legalizing your business as an entrepreneur? Why do you want to do things right? Why do you want to have a speaking coach that knows what they're doing versus one that's just going to waste your time? The reason isn't necessarily the money or any of that. It's because you want the freedom to be able to speak and exist in the world on your own terms. And that needs to be what you think about when you have to do stuff that you don't feel like because of how you feel. Discipline isn't based on how you feel. And one thing that I keep in my mind is that each and every time that I act in spite of my feelings or despite the way that I feel, I'm building discipline. And we don't always think about it as an actual house or something that we're building. But every single time you get out of bed early when you want to sleep an extra hour, every single time you help someone else when you really don't feel like doing it, every single time you decide to be consistent in your marketing strategies when you don't feel like doing it, when you're upset about how America is treating Black people, when you're upset about the way your family has to deal with at-home schooling, when you're upset about all these different things, when you're upset about the pandemic and how it threw off your life or the lives that have been lost from poor leadership in this country, whenever you think about all those things, to be honest, it can take you from a place of movement to a place of stagnation. I am a firm believer that right now, a lot of people are staying stagnant and they're not able to perform optimally because of the exhaustion of what's going on outside of the four walls of their home. And I'm going to say something that may be controversial, but you may need some tunnel vision. You may need some tunnel vision. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being just as informed as you need to be to make decisions for your family and to make decisions that will help you provide your services to the community. There is no need for you to binge watch the news all day. It's just not a need for that, because that is going to deter your destiny. And my word for 2020 was focus in January 2020 before the pandemic happened. And I just praise God that that was the word that he placed on my heart for this year, because now that I think about, okay, that was my word for 2020, all the way in January back, focus. And when you think about all the things that are going on, I'm not saying that those things are a distraction as in they're a hoax. I'm not that person. These things are real. These things are not a hoax. Wear your masks, fight your battles, do what you need to do to be a part of the movement, whether that be donating, offering legal services, or protesting. Do what you need to do. It's not a hoax, but there are some things that can be a distraction for you, even though they're very real and relevant things for everyone else. Because you have to figure out, in all of this, in all of what's going on in the world, what are you called to do? Who are you called to serve? Who are you called to help? How are you called to make your mark in the world? Because thinking about these, like the global pandemic, I'm not on the vaccine team. I'm not. Like, that is not the way in which I am called to serve and make the world a better place as it relates to the pandemic. It's not. So where should my focus be? Should it be on reading every single article about the vaccines? Should it be on reading every single negative impact of these vaccines coming out too early? Or should it be on making sure that I am legally protecting the clients of Mobile General Counsel and ensuring that the clients of Speak Your Way to Cash are able to get the checks they need to provide for their families? Because that is where I am called to serve in this thing right here. That is what I am supposed to be doing right now. But if I allow myself, and if I allow Facebook, and if I allow all these different things to take my focus off of what I can control and contribute, then I'm not doing my community a disservice. And where I think a lot of us get confused is we allow the emotionalism of the moment to deter us from where we should be focusing our energy. And the problem with that is you can do more good focusing your energy on those you can serve, those you can help, things you can do right now to make a difference than you ever will focusing your energy on all the things you can't do. So no, you won't catch me in the middle of a heated Facebook debate about certain things. You just won't. You won't. You absolutely won't. How can I serve? I went on the Jam TV and I explained that there is a huge difference between civil and criminal charges. People are out here conflating the two, thinking that Breonna Taylor's family sold out. But I mean, just ignorant. Like, can I just say that? Ignorant. That family, sidebar. This is another sidebar. I don't know many episodes like this, but sidebar. If someone in your family is murdered viciously or violently, there are two ways you can get justice. Just putting my lawyer hat on for a minute. Civil means if you sue in civil court, the only thing you can hope for is for them to stop doing something that's called like injunctive relief or monetary damages, money. That's all you got coming on the civil side. Her family bought a civil suit. They got money, allegedly 12 million. Those numbers aren't even really supposed to be public unless someone makes them public, but whatever. So allegedly 12 million. That is all they could have hoped for on the civil side. They could have held out for more money, I suppose, if that's what they wanted to do. That's an option. They could have taken it all the way to trial. But trial is so emotionally draining and taxing on a family that's already lost someone that it doesn't really it's not my place, and it's certainly not other people's places to tell that family what they should be doing on the civil side. Now, on the criminal side, if it were up to the family to ensure that all the officers convicted of a crime were actually convicted, then I could see why we would like blame them for this decision. But that's not up to them. Criminal charges are handled by prosecutors or federal or state prosecutors. It's not up to the family. The family can't sign off on something and say, charge them with the maximum crime. They also can't say, well, we'll take less money if you charge them with a really big crime. That's not how that works. Lawyer hat off. So I say all that to say, there are a lot of ways, there are a lot of things that can deter your focus. I thought the misinformation is a problem for me. Let me contribute to getting accurate information out into the sphere. I do that as a legal correspondent. Great. For you though, in what ways do you plan to serve, and how can improving and increasing your discipline help you to be of greater service? That is the question that you should ask. And so prior planning helps with that. Small goals helps with that. Activity goals, more important than the big goal. So instead of saying, I want to land 5 clients this month, say, I want to pitch 100 clients this month. Why? Because pitching 100 clients is within your control. Whether or not you land them is not necessarily all within your control. There's no guarantees on that. There are a lot of strategic things you can do to improve that, but inevitably there are no guarantees on that particular, like you can't guarantee if I pitch 5, I'm going to get 3. Like there's no guarantees on that. There are some numerical things that you can do. There are some strategic things that you can do, but there are no guarantees on that. But activity goals are great because when you have activity goals, you control that. And when you reach those activity goals, you need to celebrate. But my goal in doing this prop up live and podcast episode on discipline is really so that we can start to think about, in what areas of our lives do we need to get more disciplined and why? And what do we really, really, really want out of life? And what are our actions saying we want out of life? Because let me tell you, if you're doing nothing towards your goal, then even it doesn't matter what you say, what your actions are telling me that you want out of life is the same thing that you've always had. And you need to realize that. And we need to be honest about that. Is that really what I want? If it is, you have to do something towards it. And each and every time that you all do anything towards your goals or towards discipline, you are literally building that muscle of discipline. We always think about like our natural muscles, but like discipline is a muscle. You are going to build it by negating your feelings. And every time you do that and moving towards an action that actually is going to help you and serve you, you're building that muscle of discipline. And I could teach you all the strategies in the world, but if you're not disciplined enough to implement, you'll never get anywhere. So figure out how you can build that muscle of discipline and set a goal to actually build it each and every day by negating your feelings and focusing on things that you have control over and people that you're called to serve, even during this time. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Real short, real quick. Just wanted to give you guys that little tip and tidbit. Have an awesome day.